are back, ladies and gentlemen. Markets are moving higher today off of better than expected inflation data. I explained in the last video that if PCE came in poorly, we were in for a very big problem. But if PCE comes in good, then that relieves some of the pressure off of markets. We still have to get the government funded. We still have to figure that out. That technically is up until midnight tonight. Hopefully a deal gets done pretty soon, but we're one step closer to seeing that next leg up for Tesla stock and even the broader markets. I will point out, before we get into anything Tesla related, any of the data today, look at the RSP. The RSP is something I've been watching very closely because this thing has died recently. The RSP is the equal weight S&P ETF. And it's actually outperforming today. It's up 1.64% versus the S&P up 1.5% today. So this is a great sign. You're also seeing small caps participate and other more risk on areas of our markets actually doing well today. So that's a good sign. For Tesla stock specifically, you are up about 1.1%, but I have a feeling over the next week or two, as long as the government gets funded, you are going to see more bullish activity in Tesla, and I'm still looking to target that $500 level as long as the government gets funded. I think, when you get these kind of fear events, when you get just an overwhelming amount of fear that comes into markets, quickly the VIX spikes 75% in a single day. That's only happened 6 times in 125 years. You tend to actually move higher over the next couple of weeks after that because you kind of blow out the negative sentiment. It just goes extreme, and then, markets are mainly traded around sentiment. So as things start to get better and feel better, people tend to get more bullish and stocks tend to go higher. And I think Tesla, it had a rough last 2 days or so. It fell from the high of 488 down to the low about 13% or so, give or take. I still don't think that's bad, considering Tesla went from the 200s to the 480s. Okay, so I do think you're in that recovery phase, and you are probably going to start seeing a ramp up again, even possibly next week, again, if the government does get funded. But first and foremost, we should start with the data today that is causing markets to move higher, and this is core PCE price index month over month. It actually came in at 0.1%. Last month was 0.3%, and the expectation was 0.2%. So you came in better than expected on core PCE. This is the inflation component the Fed claims to monitor the most. So I don't know if Jerome Powell just didn't get enough sleep on Wednesday. I don't know if he was just bad with his words on Wednesday, or what the deal was, why he sounded so bearish. Rightfully so, you would have assumed PCE may come in hot this morning, but in fact it came in soft. So I'm just confused why Powell sounded so negative when PCE came in good. So markets definitely liking this data today. Personal income month over month came in at 0.3%. Expectation was 0.4%. That's not really too important. But personal spending came in at 0.4%. The expectation was 0.5%. So economy, not potentially as strong as we think. Less spending is a problem. Now, it's not a disastrous report we got today. Okay, it missed by 0.1% month over month. It's not terrible, but it is something we want to be watching for, because even last month was revised lower from previously being at 0.4%. You were revised lower to 0.3%. Okay, in the revision. So that's pretty interesting. PCE month over month on the headline basis came in at 0.1%, beating estimates of 0.2%. And year over year, PCE came in at 2.4%. The expectation was 2.5%. So pretty much across the board, PCE came in better than expected. U.S. consumer sentiment rises. The University of Michigan consumer sentiment final numbers for December came in at 74.0. Expectation was 74.2, and the flash was 74.0, with 1 year inflation expectations that came in at 2.8% versus expectations of 2.9%, and 5 to 10 year inflation expectations came in at 3% versus expectations of 3.1%. As Zero Hedge says here, inflation expectations rise, driven by downbeat Democrats. Democrats seem to have their inflation expectations that have really ramped up to what looks like about 3.2% for longer run inflation, whereas Democrats, their Republicans' inflation expectations have fallen to 1.3%. So yeah, pretty remarkable kind of differential there. Now, if we actually break apart the different components of the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey, expectations came in better than expected, consumer expectations that is, at 73.3. The expectation was 71.6. So that's a very good number. Current conditions came in a little bit lower than expected at 75.1 versus the estimate of 77.7, but this is still way higher than your last report of 63.9. Okay, and really the headline number kind of met expectations. Here you can see 74.0 is what we got. Expectation was 74.0, and different places had different expectations, but that is again up from last month when you came in at 71.8. So pretty much across the board today, you got better than expected data. And that's what is helping to fuel this bounce that we are seeing in markets. And let me just tell you, it has been a long overdue bounce for markets, especially for like the equal weight S&P and small caps. They have just gotten utterly destroyed recently. Now, in the news for Tesla, Tesla's FSD V13 has detected a school bus with its stop sign extended and flashing lights. This car comes to a complete stop and resumes driving only after the bus's red lights are turned off. This is something, again, FSD has struggled with in the past. School buses and ambulances and fire trucks and, police cars, kind of just ignoring those things. And it seems like V13 is no longer ignoring those things. It's operating like a normal human would. It's also being reported that yesterday, the semi-factory Nevada was topped off the main area of the building with the last major piece of structural steel. Fantastic design and execution by this construction team and our contractor partners with focus on safety and efficiency. This factory is going to rock. This is from Dan Presley. He works with the semi program over at Tesla. So it looks like you're almost completely done with the Nevada semi factory. And this is, again, something that nobody's really, even thinking about for Tesla, that semis could start to become, a piece of Tesla's business, right? I mean, it's not a lot of competition if you create a good semi truck. And what we've heard from truck drivers, my grandpa was one for 30 years, is they love it, okay? So if that is really true, then Tesla could have a fantastic semi-truck business. And that's not, I don't think, priced into Tesla stock at this point. Although, does it really matter? Because 2025 is all about robotaxis and AI, which is going to carry the most weight by far for Tesla. It also looks like Kim Kardashian here gifted her friend a matte black Cybertruck for her birthday. It just seems like everyone loves the Cybertruck. And it does seem like more police stations are adopting Tesla products. The Minnesota Police Department of La Crescent has added a new Tesla Model Y to its fleet. The police chief said, quote, "It's a blast to drive. It's state-of-the-art technology. My officers are into all that stuff. They think it has all the bells and whistles." Tesla today is quote-unquote recalling nearly 700,000 vehicles in U.S. over tire pressure monitoring system issue. No, this is an over-the-air software update that, again, Reuters is making a big deal about. And that is literally the main headline you're seeing everywhere. Tesla recalls 700,000 vehicles. Tesla recalls 700,000 vehicles. Tesla recalls 700,000 vehicles. From Fox 19, PR Newswire, Guru Focus, Beacon Journal. I mean, literally, it's everywhere. Forbes, okay? Delaware Online, Wall Street Journal. It's Benzinga. It's literally everywhere, okay? And it's just not true. So it does look like that really misleading headline could be holding Tesla back a little bit today. With that considered, today is actually pretty damn impressive. Now, take a look at the option activity today for Tesla. First and foremost, I will point out this trade here, a January 17th, 2025, $400 call. They paid $6,000 a contract. So that break even is $460 by January 17, 2025. Very short term in nature. And this trade's total value is worth $6 million. Somebody is putting $6 million on the line to say Tesla's going to rally about $20 from here. And really that's to break even. So Tesla would have to rally, into the 460s, 470s, or 480s to make that trade even worth it. So someone is very bullish on Tesla, and it's not just a one someone. There's a lot of people that are bullish on Tesla. Option activity today, very good. You have 302 different trades totaling $257.14 million with a positive order value of 75%. Not as good as what we've seen recently. Some days have been in the 90s, 90% or so. But keep in mind, this bad news that is being falsely spread around everywhere is kind of one of those things that people don't really look into. The algorithms kind of trade the stock based on the headlines, and a lot of people just see 700,000 vehicles recalled. Oh crap, that's negative. When in all reality, coming, in the next couple of hours, people are going to realize, oh wait, that was just an over-the-air software update. We've seen this before. It's happened time and time again. Now, considering this week, not exactly a great week for Tesla all in all. You have seen 3,534 different trades totaling $4.63 billion with a positive order value of 80%. Very high numbers here and very positive overall. So good news there in the options market. If you take a look at what's going on in the land of short sellers, you have 2.78% short interest on free float, which is up from 2.76% in which we just had over the last couple of days. So short sellers have added to short positions. You have $33.84 billion sold short in Tesla, totaling 77.58 million shares that are currently sold short. It does look like today some shorts are covering on short positions. You have return shares of 1.05 million, borrowed shares of 517,000. That means on net today, you have about 537,000 shares that are being covered on. I do think it makes sense for that year-end short squeeze as long as the markets do not fall apart, right? Why would you want to be short on Tesla into 2025 as the stock's, higher than its previous all-time high? And 2025 is going to be a year of real AI progress and applying AI. You don't want to be short in that kind of scenario. Okay, I think everyone would agree with that. If the markets behave, if we can actually continue to see a bit of this recovery, this data today, I cannot overestimate enough how important that PCE data was today. Well, if things go well, you could definitely see Tesla move higher into the end of this year. Especially if the government gets funded, you could see something like 2018, right? This is the S&P. 2018 just sounds very similar to where we are today. You had a Fed that upset the markets on December 19th. You had a government shutdown that started on December 22nd, and markets ended up falling almost 20%. right, from top to bottom, and you bottomed out on Christmas Eve, and then, and that's kind of where the Fed started changing some of their hawkishness, right? And then the government was ultimately funded a couple weeks thereafter, and the markets returned to moving higher. If government gets funded with this PCE data, you could definitely see a more optimistic year-end rally. And as I pointed out in the last video, I mean, sentiment is very low, right? You would think markets sitting way up here at near the highs that people would be bullish overall. They're not, okay? All of your sentiment readings are not good. Whether you're looking at the percent of stocks trading above their 50-day moving average at a whopping 34%. This is actually up 3.36% today. So almost 3.5% of stocks are breaking above their 50-day moving average. And you're still only at 33.5%. That's very much like correction levels, right? Your AI investor sentiment survey, bullish investors fell about 3% in the latest reading, although that doesn't really incorporate the Fed's meeting on Wednesday. The CNN Fear and Greed Index is sitting at 30, which is in fear territory. Like, anything you can look at just shows sentiment is still pretty negative out there. Even the VIX. I mean, the VIX is still at 18.46. It's down 23.5% today, but you recently hit 28. I mean, 18.5 is still pretty damn high also. So, if we continue to see this bearish sentiment alleviate, that's going to allow markets to move higher. And that's going to, I think, have an outsized positive effect on Tesla stock. But again, that is just my personal opinion. Okay, I think strength begins strength. And, Tesla's seen a lot of strength. Sentiment currently for Tesla is seeing a big recovery today. Sentiment was in the teens yesterday, and now you're sitting bullish at 64, so that's really good. Message volume is high at 58, and the participation ratio is normal at 54, but almost on the high side. Now, if we take a look, Tesla currently is advertising 5,000 different ads with Google, with inventory numbers that are very well behaved recently. They're actually trending lower. So it looks like Tesla is running down inventory, which is something a lot of other automakers are really struggling with right now. A lot of other automakers have record high inventory levels. That is not the case for Tesla. So that potentially could look really good on Tesla earnings if they're able to run down that inventory and show that, hey, we're selling everything we're producing. We're not backlogging inventory like the other automakers. That's really going to help stand Tesla apart from everyone else. If we look at Google Trends data for worldwide for different Tesla products, all of your products are hitting a new relative high. The Model Y at 63, the Model 3 at 54, the Cybertruck at 66. The Cybertruck has come down a little bit, but I mean, search trend activity has been so high for the Cybertruck, you gotta expect eventually it'll come down, right? So that's kind of what we've seen recently. The Model S at 22 and the Model X at 15. So no indications of weak demand there. And that's important because January 2nd is our delivery number. Okay, we're expecting about 515,000 deliveries. I personally think that could come in closer to about 525 to 530,000 deliveries. And that would be a really, really good day for Tesla if that happens. But we'll talk about that over this weekend a little bit more. Now, specifically search trend activity in the United States. This is probably some of the best data that we can actually get because we don't get insurance registration numbers. We don't get, DMV data like we get from Europe or we get from China. So Google Trends data is pretty much the best we have at this point. The Cybertruck sitting at 44, which again has fallen just like worldwide search trends. But the Model Y is sitting at a new relative high at 34. Same is true for the Model 3 at 25, the Model S at 14, and the Model X at 11, which the S and X are really elevated to from where they normally are. Like the Model S is typically in the 10s, 9s, 10s. Model X is typically in like the 8s. So you are definitely elevated across the board for Tesla. And that's a pretty good sign that, again, demand looks good for Tesla in the US, which is the biggest wild card. And the thing you really need for Tesla is a good delivery number. With a bad delivery number that misses expectations, that's not going to be good for Tesla stock. So, and there's something called the January effect, where markets tend to go up in the first week of January as well. And if Tesla has a good delivery number, that could just be amplified for Tesla, again, because 2025, we're all expecting is going to be a great year. Cathie Wood is out today speaking on Bloomberg. She says that Trump will speed up robo-taxis for Tesla. She says analysts are modeling it into Tesla stock, and that accounts for part of the rally we have seen so far this year for Tesla. It's also being reported today the NHTSA proposes a national program for vehicles with automated driving system. Elon Musk has also retweeted a post saying Cathie Wood knows what's coming for Tesla, suggesting that Elon is extremely bullish on Tesla stock. Also helping to fuel, I think, some of the optimism here is Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway started to scoop up more stocks, including Occidental and other stocks as well. During this latest sell-off, Berkshire Hathaway purchased an additional 8.9 million shares in the Houston-based energy producer for $405 million. And he bought other names as well, like SiriusXM and VeriSign, spending a couple $100 million on those purchases. So the fact that Warren Buffett put some money to work as the markets decline following the Fed, well, says to some people, maybe it's not the end of the world. Maybe, things are going to be okay after all. And the markets are like a little baby. They want to be cradled and reassured and all of that. Also helping to move markets higher is 10-year Treasury yields, again, down 8.5 basis points today, getting a little bit away from that 4.5 level. That 4.5 level seems to be a problem area for our markets. We're currently at 4.48%. So you're 2 basis points below that. It's not like you're in a great place for 10-year Treasury yields, but this PCE data today definitely helped to cool things down a bit. Oil is down 0.2% today. Gold is actually up 1.4%, which is on the strange side. So let me know what you think about all of this information down below in the comment section. In the next video, we will be going over scenarios and what could play out next week, as well as the early part of January, specifically for Tesla, okay? Tesla is about to have its ChatGPT moment. It's about to have its AI eye-opening moment, and markets have not realized this yet. I think a lot of you guys may have realized this, but markets have not. So if you think we've seen the brunt of the move for Tesla, I think you are wrong. Now, clearly, if things go bad in markets, there's only so much good Tesla can do, right? But assuming none else just fails for markets, nothing else is a disaster, government gets funded, that's probably the most likely scenario, then we could be in for something that is very exciting. And I want to share that with you here in this video. Also, again, my Q1 2025 prediction of a correction may be postponed a bit because of the fear that really entered markets this week from the Fed. It's hard to get a larger correction when everyone's already fearful. So I want to discuss that as well in greater detail. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you guys for all of the super chats or super thanks that you guys send, supporting the channel just by showing up and watching and engaging with these videos. I very much appreciate it. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your weekends, and I will see you in the next one.